Today, I'm going to talk about how to make learning English as natural as brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth every day. You do not think about it. You just do it automatically. But what about English? For most people, English still feels like hard work. Here is a question. What if English could feel just as easy as brushing your teeth? The secret is not trying harder. It is building a tiny habit, so small, so easy, that your brain starts to do it automatically, without thinking, just like brushing your teeth. This book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, shows us exactly how. After watching this video, you will know how to make English as easy and automatic as brushing your teeth. Chapter 1. The Power of Tiny Changes. 1% better. Every day. That sounds like almost nothing. But think about this. If you get 1% better every day for one full year, you become 37 times better by the end. Not twice as good. Not 10 times better. 37 times. And if you get 1% worse every day, after 1 year you fall to almost nothing. One small percentage. A huge difference. In 2003, British cycling was almost not good at all. For over 100 years, British riders had almost never won a major international race. The country had not won the Tour de France even once. Then a man named Dave Brailsford became the performance director. He had one simple idea. Improve every single part of cycling by just 1%. Not by 10%. Not by 50%. Just 1%. He changed the bike seats to be more comfortable. He found the perfect pillow for each rider to sleep better. He taught riders to wash their hands more carefully, to stop colds before they spread. They even carefully improved the way riders warmed up before a race. Each change was tiny. Separately, none of them mattered much. But together, they changed everything. At the 2008 Beijing Olympics, British cyclists won 60% of all the available gold medals. Then, starting in 2012, their professional team went on to win the Tour de France multiple times. All of this from 1% changes. This is the central idea of Atomic Habits. You do not need a big plan. You do not need to change your life completely in one night. You need to get a little better every day. James Clear calls this the aggregation of marginal gains. Many tiny improvements added together create amazing results. You might be thinking, but I don't see results from small habits. And that is exactly the problem. Clear talks about something called the plateau of latent potential. Think of an ice cube sitting in a cold room. The temperature rises, 27°C, 26°C, 25°C. Nothing happens. Then it reaches 0°C and the ice melts. All that warming was building up. You just could not see it. Habits are the same way. Results are coming. But you have to keep going. Researcher Dr. Philippa Lally of University College London studied how habits form. She found that it takes an average of 66 days. Small actions, done again and again, build real habits. Big sudden changes do not. Now we know that tiny habits are powerful. But how does a habit actually form inside your brain? In the next chapter, we go inside, and what we find is very interesting. Chapter 2. How your habits are built. Have you ever driven home from work and then arrived without remembering the drive? Your hands turned the wheel. Your foot hit the brake at the right time, but your mind was somewhere else completely. How is this possible? This happens because of habits. Your brain learned the route so well that it can do it without thinking. But how does that learning happen? How does a habit form? James Clear explains it with 4 stages. He calls this the habit loop. Stage 1, the cue. Something in your world starts the habit. You see something, hear something, or feel something. Stage 2, the craving. You feel a desire. You want a certain feeling. You do not want the habit itself. You want the feeling it gives you. Stage 3, the response. You do the actual habit. You take the action. Stage 4, the reward. You get the good feeling you wanted. Your brain notes, that felt good. Do it again. Here's a simple example. You are sitting at your desk. You feel a little bored. Cue, your brain wants to feel something interesting. Craving, so you pick up your phone. Response, you open social media. Reward, you feel a little better. You have done this hundreds of times. Now it is automatic. That is a habit. And here's the important part. Every habit, good or bad, works the same way. Every single one. Whether it is exercise, smoking, studying, or eating chips. James Clear says that if you want to build a good habit, you need to work with these 4 stages. If you want to break a bad habit, you need to work against them. This is the base of everything in Atomic Habits. When you understand these 4 stages, habits are no longer a mystery. You can look at any habit and ask, what is the cue? What is the craving? What is the response? What is the reward? Then you can change it. Neuroscientist Dr. Anne Graybiel of MIT studied a deep, ancient part of the brain called the basal ganglia. She found that it controls habit behaviors. Once a habit is learned, the thinking brain steps back. The habit runs automatically. So now we know what habits are made of. But knowing is not enough. You need tools to build the ones you want. James Clear gives us 4 laws, one for each stage of the habit loop. And the first law might be simpler than you expect. Chapter 3. The first law, make it obvious. When do you study English? If your answer is, when I have time, or when I feel like it, then I have some honest news for you. That habit will probably not last. Not because you are lazy, but because the cue, the trigger for your habit, is not clear enough. James Clear says the first law of building a good habit is this: make it obvious. Make the cue easy to notice, easy to remember, impossible to forget. Here is one powerful tool: the implementation intention. This means you decide exactly when and where you will do your habit before the day starts. Not, I will study English this week, but I will study English at 7:30 a.m. at the kitchen table for 10 minutes. Research shows that being this clear makes a huge difference. Another tool is habit stacking. This means you connect a new habit to an old one. Here is the formula. After I do old habit, I will do new habit. For example, after I brush my teeth at night, I will study English for 5 minutes. Your old habit, brushing teeth, becomes the cue for your new one. You do not need to remember. The old habit starts the new one automatically. Clear also talks about environment design. He says our environment controls our behavior more than we think. If your English textbook is in a drawer, you will probably never open it. But if it is sitting open on your desk, right in front of you, you will pick it up. Make good habits easy to see. Hide the cues for bad habits. Redesign your space and you redesign your behavior. The rule is simple. If you cannot see the cue, the habit will disappear. But if the cue is right in front of you, the habit becomes almost certain to happen. Dr. Peter Gallwitzer of New York University studied two groups of people. One group made clear when and where plans. The other group had only unclear plans. The first group was much more likely to follow through on their goals. Making a habit obvious is step one. But what happens when you start and then lose motivation 2 weeks later? That is exactly the problem the second law solves. And the answer will change how you think about motivation forever. Chapter 4. The second law, make it attractive. Have you ever started a new habit with a lot of energy and then stopped after just a few days? You felt motivated at the beginning, but then the feeling just disappeared. Why does motivation not last? Here is the reason. We do not do things because they are good for us. We do them because they feel good. Our brain releases a chemical called dopamine when we do something enjoyable. And here is the key point. Dopamine is released not just when we get a reward, but when we expect one. This is why social media is so powerful. Every time you open an app, your brain thinks, maybe something interesting is there. That tiny feeling of waiting for something good keeps you coming back. So how can you use this for your English habit? James Clear talks about a strategy called temptation bundling. The idea is simple. Combine a habit you need to do with something you already enjoy. For example, only listen to your favorite music while reviewing English vocabulary. Only watch your favorite drama while practicing English listening. Now your brain starts to connect English with something enjoyable. The craving for your favorite show becomes the craving that starts your English habit. He also says, look at the people around you. Humans naturally copy the behavior of those close to them. If you join a group where studying English is normal, an online community, a local English club, or even a study partner, the habit feels natural. The social environment becomes a powerful cue. James Clear also recommends a simple shift in mindset. Instead of saying, I have to study English, try saying, I get to study English. Small language changes can shift how you feel about a habit. Researcher Dr. Wolfram Schultz of Cambridge University studied dopamine neurons. He found they fire most strongly when we wait for a reward. Not when we get it, when we expect it. This is why making a habit feel attractive from the start is so important. It keeps you coming back. Now you know how to make habits obvious and attractive. But what if starting still feels too difficult? That is exactly the problem the third law is designed to solve. And the answer is much simpler than you expect. Chapter 5. The third law, make it easy. What is the hardest part of studying English? For many people, it is not the studying itself. It is starting. You sit down. You open the textbook. You look at the page. And then you close it. You check your phone instead. What happened? James Clear has a clear explanation. Our brains always choose the path of least effort. When something is hard to start, we usually do not do it. He calls this the law of least effort. Our brain is always looking for the easiest option. So the solution is not more willpower. The solution is to make the habit easier to start. Clear introduces the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, the first action should take less than 2 minutes. Not 30 minutes. Not 1 hour. 2 minutes. Study English for 2 minutes? That sounds almost too easy. But that is exactly the point. When starting is easy, you actually start. And once you start, it is much easier to continue. He also talks about reducing friction. Friction means the small problems that make a habit harder to begin. For example, if your English study app requires a password and takes 30 seconds to load, that is friction. Remove it. Put the app on your home screen. Make it one tap. Every second you save makes the habit more likely to happen. Think about brushing teeth. Your toothbrush is right there next to the sink. It takes 5 seconds to pick up. There is almost no friction. That is why you never skip it. Now imagine if you had to walk to a different house to get your toothbrush every morning. You might actually stop brushing. The habit survives because starting is easy. This is the secret. Make starting so easy that saying no feels strange. Dr. B.J. Fogg of Stanford University developed the Fogg behavior model. It shows that behavior depends on 3 things: motivation, ability, and a prompt. When ability increases, when something becomes easier to do, the habit is far more likely to happen, even with lower motivation. We know how to make habits obvious, attractive, and easy. But there is one final challenge. How do you keep going after weeks and months pass? The 4th law has the answer. It might be the most important one yet. Chapter 6. The 4th law, make it satisfying. Have you ever done something clearly good for you? Exercise, healthy eating, studying, and then stopped after a few weeks even though it was helping? Why do we stop doing things that are obviously good for us? James Clear has the answer. Our brains are built to think about right now. You feel the effort of exercise now. But the benefit, better health, comes months later. Your brain does not easily connect these 2 things. So the habit slowly disappears. The solution: add an immediate reward. Make the habit feel good right now, not just later. Here is an example from the book. A man wanted to save money and get healthier. Every time he skipped going to a restaurant and cooked at home instead, he moved money into a special savings account. He could only use it for travel. Every time he cooked, he felt the immediate satisfaction of being one step closer to his next holiday. The good feeling came now, not later. For English, one powerful tool is a habit tracker. Every day you study, put a mark on a calendar. After 7 days, you have a chain of 7 marks. Clear calls this "don't break the chain." That chain itself becomes satisfying. You do not want to break it. That feeling of visible progress is a reward all on its own. Clear also gives one very useful rule: never miss twice. Missing one day is perfectly fine. Life happens. But if you miss 2 days in a row, the habit starts to die. The rule is simple. Miss once, never twice. 1 missed day is an accident. 2 missed days is the start of a new habit. A bad one. We have now covered all 4 laws. Make it obvious. Make it attractive. Make it easy. Make it satisfying. But James Clear says there is one more idea. And it is the most powerful of all. It is about something deeper than behavior. It is about who you are. Chapter 7. The Real Secret. Change your identity. Most people set goals like this. I want to speak English fluently. I want to lose weight. I want to save more money. James Clear says there is a problem with this approach. Can you guess what it is? Goals focus on what you want to get. They do not focus on who you want to become. In the book, Clear describes two people who are both trying to quit smoking. Someone offers each of them a cigarette. Person A says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." Person B says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." Feel the difference? Person A is still fighting against the old identity. He is working hard to resist. Person B has already made a decision about who he is. He is not a smoker. The habit change does not come from effort. It comes from identity. Clear calls this identity-based habits. Instead of focusing on goals, you decide who you want to be. Then you act like that person, one small step at a time. Do not say, "I want to speak English." Say, "I am an English learner." Every time you study English for 5 minutes, you cast a vote for that identity. Every small habit is a vote. Do it 10 times, it feels possible. Do it 100 times, and you truly believe it. And when you believe it, when you are an English learner, the habit becomes natural, automatic. Like brushing your teeth. This is why small habits are so much more powerful than big goals. Big goals try to change what you do. Small habits you do every day change who you are. And your identity shapes everything. So here's the final conclusion of Atomic Habits. To make a lasting change, start with identity. Decide who you want to be. Take tiny steps toward that person every single day. Make the habit obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. And never stop. Making English feel like brushing your teeth is not magic. It is just a small habit, done every day until it becomes part of who you are. Dr. Christopher Bryan of Stanford University conducted a study. He focused on people who called themselves voters. These individuals were not just people planning to vote. They were much more likely to actually cast their vote. Identity changes behavior much more strongly than intention. So, which small habit will you start with today? Maybe tonight, after you brush your teeth, you will open an English app for just 2 minutes. That is your first vote. Thank you for watching until the end. I want to grow this small channel into something great. Together with all of you. If you have any good ideas to make a video better, please leave a comment below. And if writing a comment feels like too much today, just pressing the like button makes me very happy. If you want to practice your English listening more, this channel has more content for you. Please subscribe so you do not miss anything. See you in the next one.